It is 6 days to the Joy News National Media Freedom Dialogue on defending media freedom ahead of the December general elections. Welcome to Joy News Prime with me, Samuel Kojo Brace. In our headlines, this are GUTA is on a collision course with the government as it rejects the government's proposed import licensing regime. Details as they label the new controversial Ghana Shippers Authority Act as a money-making venture.
Agents, they are not clan agents, neither are they customs or DRE. They don't have any operational issue with our documents. So they are just seeking these documents just to get some monies and all that from us.
Now, renovation of Parliament chamber to cost the government 2.26 million euros as the House goes digital to address key challenges confronting proceedings on the floor.
Cost of this phase is 2.26 million euro. This is funded by government of Ghana.
Details as Speaker sets end of October for completion of all renovation works. But we ask, where will Parliament convene in 11 days when the House is recalled?
And so the Speaker could order that Parliament could convene under the tree, and it must be done.
The Ghana Union of Traders Association, GUTA, is on a collision course with the government as it rejects the government's proposed import licensing regime. Now, under the newly proposed Ghana Shippers Authority Act 2024, importers and shipping service providers will be required to register with the Ghana Shippers Authority and submit shipment notices, a move seen by traders as burdensome and unnecessary. The Act also restates the Advanced Shipment Information System, which had previously been resisted and withdrawn after pushback from the business community. Dr. Joseph Obeng, president of the Ghana Union of Traders Association, GUTA, argues that the government failed to consult key stakeholders before Parliament passed the Act. They are urging President Akufo-Addo not to assent to the controversial Ghana Shippers Authority Act.
They even told us, when we raised these issues, they told us that it's the Attorney General that advised them to put the withdrawal, cancellation, and then the punitive measures into this act. What are they telling us? So they just told us, and then they said that they are going to rectify it with the LI. In any case, if you are going to help me to facilitate my trade, do you have to give me punishment that I will go into prison? If your duty is to facilitate my trade, to make my trade worthwhile, as they are portraying, do you have to put punitive? It's for their own interest. This is about the internal generation of funds and all that. And that they will do this and they charge us fees for documents. But in any case, these documents are always brought in advance to ICANNs, to Ghana Customs.
Right.
So what do they need these documents for? Are they the clearing agents? They are not clearing agents. Neither are they customs or DRE. They don't have any operational issue with our documents. So they are just seeking these documents just to get some monies and all that from us.
But the Importers and Exporters Association are in support of the new legislation. Samson Asaki Awingobet is its executive secretary.
The main focus of this parent act is to rather bring sanity, streamline things, to make sure that the shipping line now have the power to sit on tariff or on negotiations and charges and fees that will be preferred against importer or exporter. The Ghana Shippers Authority, with this current act, give them the teeth to bite. Anybody that goes contrary against this current parent act can be sanctioned, can be revoked, the license and whatever. So, where I sit as the executive secretary, this is a welcome news. And before this law was sent to Parliament in the form of a bill, there was an engagement of stakeholders. In fact, at some point, even Importer and Export Association wasn't invited at that stakeholders engagement. However, in principle, because we were advocating that if the Ghana Shippers Authority really want to have teeth to bite, because look, if one will bring a shipping cargo or a container to Ghana port, and you have not gone for any demurrage, and you are clearing this cargo at the port, assuming you are having 10 containers on per 1 bit of lading, this shipping line will say you have to pay local handling charge Local handling charge, and some of them, it is 40-footer containers, some of them are charging over 10,000. 20-footer containers, some of them are charging over 7,000. And if Asaka is having 10 containers in one document, they are not saying 10,000 for face value. They are taking 10,000 times 10 containers. If importer pay, as the current state that we are, if an importer is able to get money, to pay his duty, and could not get money to pay for this local handling charges, no shipping line will release your cargo for you. And even the president cannot even call them that please release if the person has paid duty, release the container to the person. They cannot. The minister cannot. The shippers authority boss cannot. But with this Parent Act law that has come to streamline things, things will be fine for the industry.
Now, joining via Zoom now is Kwabena Ofosu-Appiah, past president of the Ghana International Freight Forwarders. I'm grateful to you for joining us. Now, the Ghana Shippers Authority has explained that the new LI will operationalize the law and provide better clarity on the provisions that seem inhibitive to carrying on the profitable commercial shipping business in Ghana. And they add that every effort is being made to ensure that Ghana remains well aligned to global standards of shipping and is thus a competitive route for international trade. Now, isn't this a good enough reason for you to then buy into the idea of this new law?
Thank you very much, my brother. I mean, it is a good reason. I mean, but this is a very linear way of looking at the conversation that we are having, okay? To say that there is an aspect of the proposed act which is good, so we should not talk about the aspect that is not good, is very linear, and for me it's very, very unfortunate. And for somebody who represents the interest of shippers, the act, if you say that we were called to a meeting, what are
well, the network is not helping, but we'll try and bring him back so we can have this conversation. We're also expecting to speaking to someone with knowledge of this particular law from the Ghana Shippers Authority point of view. We will be getting back to it. But this is a story about the fact that there is a new Ghana Shippers Authority Act 2024, and the Traders Union Association of Ghana, GUTA, is in disagreement with the component of the law. We're learning that the freight forwarders are also in disagreement of the component of this law. They feel that this will impose an import licensing regime. Let's join Dr. Kofi Mbia, who is a former CEO of the Ghana Shippers Authority, for more on this. I'm grateful to you for joining us here. Now, traders and freight forwarders are opposing this law. What really is the focus or goal of this new law?
Good evening.
Doc, I can hear you. I can hear you, Doc.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening, sir. Let's hear you, sir.
Yeah, good evening, and good evening. Yeah, good evening to our viewers as well. Yes, I believe the focal point for this act, as I read it, is to introduce some level of standardization, competitiveness, and if you like, sanity into the commercial, maritime, and port space, so that we can streamline things that the various players have complained about for a number of years.
Okay. Now, I mean, what actually have the complaints been such that this law comes to correct it? Because as you heard there, freight forwarders say there are aspects of the law that really do not inure to the benefit of the operations.
Yeah, I believe that it will be important for whoever raises issues or concerns with portions of the law to highlight the particular issues for which they have concern, and for those concerns to be addressed. I know for a fact that there is no licensing regime as far as registration of shippers, shipping service providers is concerned. However, I have heard that it is said that the new act imposes a licensing regime for importers and exporters. I do not think so. I think the drafter is very clear. Where the drafter wants to use licensing, the word licensing will be used. I don't think that the drafter means licensing when he uses registration. So I think that must be made very clear. It is also important to realize that whilst it is accepted that, in fact, a lot of the complaints have come with respect to the operations of shipping lines. It is not only shipping lines, and that we don't operate in a vacuum in the ports. So it's important that when we want to have service level agreements, when we want to have standards, we should look at it holistically.
Okay.
So I believe what this act does is to bring all the players in view, such that there is some sense of, if you like, ownership. And also, I believe that when you look at the issues regarding local content, for example, they are important and they are beneficial for our own people.
Okay.
I must add quickly that, yes, we have private players, but government itself is also a major importer and a major exporter.
Okay.
And consequently, its interest must also be taken into account in all of these.
Okay.
We have said all the time that, Shippers Authority does not have teeth to bite. It doesn't have teeth. The same people who have called for teeth now say the teeth is too sharp, but they want a teeth that will be able to bite. So I don't think they want blunt teeth. So it is important that we realize that, yes, not everybody will be pleased with the legislation, especially when it calls for transparency, and we need transparency in order that we'll be competitive.
Well, the traders argue that all that you're trying to do is to impose more bureaucracies and in the process extort money from them. That's what they label this law.
I don't think so. When, for example, the Act talks about prescribed fees, it means that the prescribed fees will be left to subsidiary legislation. And that is where I believe that being major players, they can all play a part in shaping the legislative instrument that would emanate from the Parent Act.
All right.
So it is something that can still be done. Yes, it is true that the subsidiary legislation cannot override a parent legislation, but the parent legislation has provided a broad framework, and consequently, the subsidiary legislation will now deal with the details for implementation and enforcement.
Okay.
And that is where I believe that the stakeholders have a role to play, and they can work together with the Ghana Shippers Authority to achieve these.
Okay. Let me bring in Kwabena Ofosu-Appiah, who is the past president of the Ghana International Freight Forwarders. So, Kwabena, you've heard Dr. Mbia there. He says that there is an opportunity for you to make input into the subsidiary legislation. Will you take that opportunity to put across your views?
You see, good evening, my brother. The institute I belong to is Ghana Institute of Freight Forwarders.
Okay.
Dr. Gofimbia is like a senior brother to all of us. He is somebody that we defer to so much. So it's actually a very pain point for us to be bantering with him, on subjects like this, But from where he is coming from, they tell you that when the tree is bent, the ashes thereof will be bent. That is one quotation that our lawyers say so much. And you cannot put something on nothing. And they go on to tell you that when the tree is poisoned, the fruit thereof is also poisoned. Okay, that is why he talks of the legislative instrument. Are we saying we are now going to look out for a legislative instrument that seeks to maybe water down the effect of the provision of an act? You see, we are grateful that the Shippers Authority mandate is being renewed to, like as it were, have teeth to bite. Okay, but this also does not mean that they are given amorphous power. There are regulators already in place. Ghana, the Customs Division of the GRA is one of them. The Ghana International Trade Commission is one of them. The Ghana Maritime Authority is one of them. You see, all these authorities have been seized with powers, legal powers, to regulate all of us within the space, the port. Okay? So if we are going to have, if we have gone to the Shippers Authority, Dr. Gofimbia is saying that asking for teeth. It doesn't mean this kind of a blanket power must be given to the Shippers Authority.
Okay.
Now he talks of areas that we should point out to him. I mean, if you look at submission of notice of shipment, Section 38, 1, 2, A, and D, it all points to a certain regime that
But will you take the window to make your point heard that the opportunity has been created? Will you take it?
The opportunity has been created to
make your input into the LI, which will operationalize the law itself.
No, I don't think that is a natural given. We are stakeholders within this space now, but for what has happened, for which reason this act is being debated now. You saw the letter of the TAGG, the task force. They said after the law has been passed, after the bill has been passed in Parliament, that it is like the cat is being put before the horse. That was when people are being called now to do what?
Okay.
You see, that is why we are saying that we are staying the president's hand from assenting to the bill. We still have that window. We are not saying everything should be thrown away.
Okay. All right, Governor.
Okay. So when the president's hand is still signing, then we will come and sit down and do what we should have done in the first place.
Okay, Governor. I'm grateful to you, Governor, for joining us here with your thought. Governor is a past president of the Institute of Freight Forwarders. Yeah. Now, away from that, Speaker of Parliament Alban Bagbin has revealed that ongoing renovation works in the Chamber of Parliament will cost the government of Ghana some 2.26 million euros. Parliament went on an indefinite break on the midnight of July 30 to make way for the renovation project, which is expected to last some 3 months. The Speaker has been on a tour of the Chamber to inspect progress of work. James Aveji has more in the following report.
Speaker arrived on the floor for his inspection. He was taken round on a tour to inspect the current state of work. After the inspection, he was again taken through some demonstration as to how the new table to be fitted on the floor would work.
Is to press it to know that he is in.
Yes.
So it will be recorded.
Yes,
so you get to know when the person arrives.
Yes, please.
Okay.
The Speaker then addressed the media, and in his address, he first revealed that the current renovation project will cost the government of Ghana some 2.26 million euros.
And the cost of this phase is 2.26 million euro. This is funded by government of Ghana.
Now, the project, after completion, according to the Speaker, will address the audiovisual challenges as well as voting issues that confront the chamber during proceedings.
Having problems with our audio systems, our video, and then you also will recall the challenges we had with issue of quorum, issue of voting, and all those things. And these are all factored into this program.
The Speaker has indicated that the project would be completed at the end of October. Now, one question that still stands is, in his August 7 press statement, he indicated that the House will be recalled on the 3rd of September. Now, the question is, what happens when the House is recalled and Parliament, the chamber, is not ready or fit for purpose?
As you can all see, business cannot be conducted on the floor of the House. And that is why we issued that response. And we're definitely looking for an alternative place. And I'm sure very soon we'll come out with a notice confirming where we could hold the meeting. And so the Speaker could order that Parliament could convene under the tree, and it must be done.
Now, as you can see, the men are still at work, working hard, chasing after time to get the chamber ready by end of October this year for the House to reconvene. James Aveji from the Chamber of Parliament here in Accra for Joy News.
From that, the Korle Bu Teaching Hospital is intensifying effort to introduce new treatments for kidney patients. Among its top considerations is the peritoneal dialysis, an alternative famous in the US and also other advanced countries, which will provide patients with more accessible and efficient option of ridding their bodies of toxins. Now, Korle Bu's move comes after the recent shutdown of its dialysis unit due to the non-availability of consumables. But CEO Dr. Pokun Ware Ampoma explains that if this new treatment comes on board, it will make it easier for the patient to access treatment in the comfort of their homes.
We are still owed some outstanding supply of dialysis machines and other equipment, and so they've given a firm assurance that they are going to bring in another 30 machines. Also,
in addition to the 30 you are getting,
in addition to the 30 we are getting, from the Minister of Health. Just that these ones are still, the particular by the closed system. So, but at least it's still an additional capacity that we are going to have. So with that we can rehabilitate our old dialysis unit. Because the original dialysis unit was on the second floor of the medical block, or the first floor of the medical block. That was the original dialysis unit, and because of most of the machines they had gone into disrepair, so that place is closed. So with these machines coming, we can immediately also reopen that unit so that we can have more options in terms of dialysis services.
So you're going to open an additional unit?
Yes. No, I mean, this was original unit, okay, and then the dialysis cabin, what we are using now, was an addition. So this was the dialysis cabin we opened it about, I think, 2.5 years ago. So
that's what it's in use now. So when you say you've reopened, that's what you've reopened.
That's what we've reopened. So that's what we.
And the original place is not functional as
because the machines there were not working. Thankfully, we've had a breakthrough now, and so those machines are going to come on board with other equipment.
In the meantime, the National Health Insurance Authority says it has paid over 1.5 million cedis since June under the free dialysis program. Now, away from that, after a 2-month hiatus due to heavy rains, the Operation Clean Your Surroundings, a collaboration between Joy News and the Second Takoradi Metropolitan Assembly resumed with full force. The mission restore the Twin Cities' cleanliness and ensure strict adherence to hygiene and sanitation standards. Led by the Metro Environmental Director Abdul Karim Hudu, the task force renewed effort resulted in the closure of 3 public toilets and warnings issued to a local eatery. Hudu expressed the team's frustration over the persistent neglect of public health laws, vowing to hold offenders accountable. Correspondent in Athalia Konsa has the details.
The team kicked off their renewed efforts in Kujokrom Zongo, where they were greeted by a disturbing sight, a dilapidated public toilet opened by Baba Ali and Mr. Annan stood neglected, emitting foul odor. Weeds had overtaken the surroundings. To make matters worse, the septic tank was visibly cracked, with raw sewage leaking into the area. With no hesitation, the task force shut the facility down and slapped the operators with a fine.
Our aim is to target public toilets. So we have gone to 3 public toilets, and we have closed every public toilet. It concerns public health, people's health. That is why we are doing that. When we went, the conditions are very horrible.
The closure marked a strong message to other facility owners that such negligence would not be excused.
They will reconstruct the tanks and then renovate. Some of the screens that they have done on the toilets are all worn out. So that is the next action that we are going to take. If they don't do it, we'll prosecute them.
Moving deeper into the Kujokrom area, the task force uncovered more alarming sanitation violations. In Kujokrom, Ifukrom, a similar scene unfolded Arthur Toilet facility run by Michael Arthur. The air was thick with the stench of rotten waste from another defective septic tank, and the surroundings were blanketed in an overgrown weeds. The team acted swiftly, closing the facility and imposing a fine on Arthur for his dangerous disregard for public health. For Joy News, in Athalia Kwanza, Western Region.
This is still the Joy News Prime. We'll take a break here. We'll be back with more, please. Don't go away. Welcome back from the break. Let's do election headquarters, and that is brought to you by Petrosol Platinum Energy. Energizing Dreams, the Chartered Institute of Management Accountants, the American Institute of Certified Public Accountants, together as the Association of International Certified Professional Accountants, Chopbox Technologies, a convenient service, and Youth Bridge Foundation, bridging the gap for positive youth development. Now, the foundation of the Movement for Change, Alan Chamanting, has pledged to revitalize the economy if he wins the December 7, 2024 general elections. Now, among his promises is the establishment of what he calls the Traders Bank to provide financial support to small business owners. Now, more in this report.
Alan Chamanting, the founder of the Movement for Change, took his campaign to several parts of Accra, emphasizing that economic stabilization will be his top priority if elected.
The key message is that we need to fix the economy. You know, everything depends on the economy. And look, I've been a founding member of the governing party, so I know mainstream politics through and through. It doesn't matter how much you do with infrastructure, even with social services. If you can't fix the economy, there will be no jobs. If people don't have jobs, there will be no income. And if people don't have income, then the question of survival, it's a problem. So basically, I have come out and I've started this movement.
As he moved from shop to shop, Mr. Chamanting wrapped up his grassroots campaign at the 37 lorry station, where he assured residents that he would build an ultra-modern lorry terminal for them. Some residents expressed their belief in Alan's vision and are optimistic about his chances of victory on December 7, 2024.
I started following Alan Cash way back in 2016. This man is selflessness. The ambition that this man is having, I've not seen it anybody. So I just met him outside there. We were going out for our business, and I said I will follow this man. Yes. Because this man, if I follow him, I know I'm going to the rightful place. Even if this man, he doesn't win, I will even die for him. Exactly. This man, Alan Cash, you don't know. He is winning. This man is winning. Whether rain or shine, this man is going to win.
Members of the manifesto team met the Council of Elders of the NDC to brief them on the document they are to present. Now, former chairman of the NDC, Samuel Ofosu Ampofo, tells Joy News the party will present a superior document. Mr. Ampofo said the party will counter what he describes as government-led intimidation tactics aimed at suppressing vote in the Volta region. He said the NDC will stand firm against any underhand dealings that could derail the party's chances in the 2024 presidential and parliamentary elections.
Is that they are looking for a very credible alternative policies that will be able to address the Hydra-headed challenges that we are facing as a country. We are in a country where there is, the economic downturn. There is unemployment rate has gone very high. The economy is facing challenges. The cedi is still falling to the dollar and has virtually reached its highest peak, nearly about 16 Ghana cedis to $1, as opposed to when the MPP took over from the NDC, when the dollar was just hovering around 4.2. And so cocoa production has plummeted, and today cocoa production that almost went to about 1 million tons during the era of the NDC is now almost below 500,000 metric tons, and so food production and food prices, food inflation has gone very high, in spite of the planting for food and jobs that the government touted as one of their flagship programs. And so a lot of Ghanaians have been worsened as a result of the mismanagement of the economy, and it appears that this government has no clue as to salvage the sinking ship of the state. And so the expectation is that the NDC, having a very, very capable hands, like Excellency John Dramani Mahama, who has proven that even in the face of difficulties, he can rise to the occasion.
And ahead of the 2024 manifesto launch of the National Democratic Congress, some residents of Kumasi have been sharing perspectives on the expected policy direction of the main opposition party. Respondents, mainly commercial drivers, artisans and traders, are concerned about the economic initiatives to drive down cost of fuel, spare parts, and taxation on essential commodities.
As you know, this is a very serious election. So we want the truth from the politicians. We don't want any propaganda things from us. We want the truth. If you say you can do, just come and do. If you say you can do, just tell the truth for us.
As a businesswoman, I am particularly excited about the Women's Bank because the interests on loans these days are really huge.
Sometimes
the prices of spare parts are really expensive here at Magazine. If he can include it in his manifesto, we would be glad to vote for him.
They should have more TVET training and more training for our artisans so that they can also be abreast with what is going on in the world now.
If Mahama can clear all the police officers who take bribes, I'd personally be happy because we don't get enough as drivers and we must pay these officers too.
Our election headquarters is brought to you by Petrosol Platinum Energy, Energizing Dreams, the Chartered Institute of Management Accountant, and the American Institute of Certified Public Accountant, together as the Association of International Certified Professional Accountants, also by the Chopbox Technologies, a convenient service, and Youth Bridge Foundation, bridging the gap for positive youth development. Now, the President, Nana Akufo-Addo, has commissioned a 3-story multiple-purpose edifice for the University of Development Studies as his birthday gift to the university. The President, on his 75th birthday in 2018, made a promise to build a facility while attending the 25th anniversary celebration of the university in Tamale. The structure, named Silver Jubilee, houses lecture halls, laboratories, offices, among others. Speaking at the commissioning, the President said, while celebrating the edifice, it was important to reflect on the broader significance of the building.
This is expected to help improve the infrastructure deficit facing the university. It is also expected to create a conducive atmosphere for teaching and learning. Delivering his speech, the President, Nana Akufo-Addo, said the structure symbolizes the shared vision for a brighter future and the government's commitment to the development of the country.
During my tenure as president, I've had the honor of presenting charters to 7 private tertiary institutions. This illustrates my government's quest to construct a diverse and competitive higher education landscape that can meet the evolving needs of our society.
The Education Minister, Dr. Osei Edichum, outlined some of the things the government had done in the education sector.
So going before Parliament in the next few weeks is the law that mandates that every youth go to secondary or technical school in Ghana.
The Vice Chancellor of the University for Development Studies, Professor Saidu Al-Hassan, thanked the President for the gesture. He also outlined internal drive the UDS had taken to improve their infrastructure situation.
Specifically, the building provides us with the following: 140 offices, 16 lecture halls, a state-of-the-art auditorium. I am also proud to inform you that the university is proactively contributing to addressing the critical issue of insufficient lecture halls by leveraging on its internally generated funds.
Now, the much-hailed District Road Improvement Program, DRIP, has been locally launched in the Bono East region, with the Regional Minister, Kwesi Edujan, optimistic that the initiative would help expand road network as well as improve accessibility and mobility to rural communities in the area. A move, he says, would help solve post-harvest losses, with harvested food crops going waste due to the deplorable rural road networks within the region. And Asabit has more.
The Bono East region, as part of government's District Road Improvement Program, received a total of 89 road improvement equipments aimed at helping resolve road infrastructure challenges across the country. The equipments, according to the Bono East Regional Minister Kwesi Edujan, are expected to play a crucial role in addressing the deplorable state of many road networks across the Bono East enclave.
We in Bono East region have been given a total of 89 road improvement and rehabilitation equipment to equip the assemblies with the necessary equipment. In addition to this, we are also providing capacity building and skills development that will enable these equipments to perform effectively and efficiently.
Bono East Regional Manager of Zoom Lion, who spoke on behalf of JA Plant Pool, a subsidiary of the Jospon Group, who are partners to the project, George Manu, said steps are already taken to ensure that all 89 equipments are taken care of in terms of maintenance and servicing. Speaking on behalf of the 11 MMDCs across the area, District Chief Executive from Kranza North, Peter Oseifusu, said the new equipments would go a long way in solving the old age challenge of bad roads across the rural settings.
And most of the time, we realize that when they say the road is not good, it is not the entire stretch. There may be some spots that can cut the whole community off. So with the commissioning of this project, now the DRIP project, it is going to solve most of our problems regarding commuting in the rural communities.
The 89 road improvement equipment is said to create over 1,000 direct and indirect jobs across the Bono East region. Anna Sabit, Joy News.
Now, Country Director of Action Aid Ghana, John Nkau, has called on the Domestic Violence Secretariat and the Ministry of Gender, Children and Social Protection to cede between 10 to 20% of funds from the Domestic Violence Fund to cater for the medical bills of victims of domestic violence and other primary vulnerable groups. Speaking at a multi-stakeholder conference, he noted that more than half of monies from the DVF are channeled to areas that are not related to violence against women. John Nkau averred that most victims of domestic violence are unable to pay for the medical bills. As a result, the cases fizzle out. Joy News' Upper West Regional Correspondent Rafik Salam reports from Wa.
Data obtained from Action Aid Ghana in collaboration with the Ghana Education Service in Jiruba and Sisala East municipalities and Lambuse district between May and June 2024 revealed that 84 girls between the ages of 14 and 20 are victims of child marriages, teenage pregnancies, and childbirth. A more worrying regional picture was further painted by a public health nurse at the Upper West Regional Health Directorate, Isaac Santa, ranging from ANC attendance, deliveries, and abortions in the region.
Because 2020, 1,593 as compared to the 1,721 the previous year. So at least there was a reduction. And the rate went down to 9% of our ANC registrants. Then, 2024, our current year. Now, we have 1,456 adolescents becoming pregnant, making an 8.6%. In 2022, we have 139 abortions from adolescents. Then 2023, it came down to 122. Instead of it to continue that way and all of us will be happy, 2024, 148.
Country Director, ActionAid Ghana, John Nkao, was commending the government for the establishment of the Domestic Violence Fund, whose significant monetary contributions has been made into. He is however unhappy about the way the fund is being managed and called on the Domestic Violence Fund Secretariat and the Ministry of Gender to carefully target primary vulnerable groups.
Healthcare support for the vulnerable people, shelters for persons or young girls suffering violence has not been adequately targeted. And we think that that is where the biggest problem is. If out of the DV fund, we are allocating between 20 to 10% of the fund to address the primary vulnerabilities of domestic violence, then it is a concern. And therefore, we are calling on the Domestic Violence Secretariat and the Ministry of Gender and Children and Social Protection to be able to carefully target vulnerable segment of society.
Reporting for J News, Rafiq Salam. Wow.